Who will be the 49ers breakout performer of 2021? It was Kittle in 19. It was Warner in 2020. Well, it was Kittle in 18, wasn't it? It was Kittle in 18. It was Warner in 2020. Who will be the guy in 2021?
I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk. I'm going to go with Ayuk because I think the 49ers are going to be a little bit more improved. Definitely going to be improved at the quarterback position, which is going to allow him to be a bigger playmaker in their offense. He had a pretty darn good season this year, considering he missed a couple of games and he was playing with the backup quarterbacks for the majority of the season. So I really have a lot of faith that he's going to be much better, much improved in his second year in this, especially if he's able to get through a full off season as well.
Yeah, I like Jack's answer. It's tough to argue with that, but I'm going to go with Kinlaw. I think let's assume Nick Bosa is going to be healthy on the end. Let's assume the 49ers get someone serviceable at D end. You put Armstead in the middle with Kinlaw, and I know it's tough to say a lot of good things about Armstead right now after the season that he had, but if he can focus on being back on the interior with two legitimate pass rushers on the end, that's a really good recipe for success for a young defensive tackle to be in between Armstead and Bosa on the line. And he did splash and he did make some he could be a little more consistent last year, but he splashed and showed that he has a lot of potential and a really high ceiling. So that would be the guy I'd pick.
Yeah, I think when they drafted him, they wanted him to be like the fourth pass rush threat on the line and thought he'd be good at that. And he didn't get to be that last year. Maybe he could be that this year. Good call. Maverick.
I always go Jeff Wilson Jr. on every question, so why change it? But I think in a bigger role, in a more consistent 16-game role, I think he would do really well in Kyle's offense. I think he's a very good pass catcher out of the backfield. I think that's something we didn't really see the previous or before the last two seasons, and now we know it's he's a decent pass catcher. He's a good runner. I know there's some problems with fumbling, but it's really just two spurts, the beginning of his career and then that 2-week span this year. And other than that, he has no other fumbles. So I think Wilson would be a good option for breakout.
That's a great option. You could almost argue that he broke out this year. He was just terrific this year. Other guys who might break out next year, Daniel Brunskill, Ross Dwelly. But I'm going to pick Deebo Samuel. And the reason I feel like you could go with Deebo or Ayuk. And Ayuk's a good choice because he's better than Deebo and he's in better shape, better athlete. But I'm just going to go like real deep not conspiracy, but I'm going to real project here. I've seen players have sophomore slumps, especially guys who had a ton of praise their rookie year. They're 22, they're 23. They think it's easy. They go into the offseason and they just don't do that well. And they come back and it's like, oh, I'm not saying Ayuk can have a sophomore slump. I'm just saying that Deebo Samuel's coming off a very disappointing year. He's getting 1 year closer to that second contract. He's got to get it together. He's got to have his breakout year, and he's running out of time. He's basically got 2 years to do it. This year would be good, and I think he's basically going to have an excellent offseason. He's going to stay healthy for 1 year and just tear it up. I think he's just going to be fantastic next year. Deebo Samuel. We'll see. Or he'll pull his hamstring in May and never really get it going.